Member for Timmins James Bay has the right to reply for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As always, a great honor to rise in this incredible chamber. And today is, to me, a day of great joy and hope as I see how we are coming together. And I see it as very telling because the very first emergency debate that this Parliament held was the parliamentarians of Canada from every region of this country coming together during the horrific dark night of the Attawapiskat youth suicide crisis. And we came that night, and it was the first act of this Parliament, but we have unfinished business from that Parliament. And I think it's so powerful that we are here today to come full circle to say the deaths of people in this country from hopelessness, from mental illness, is unacceptable at the rates that we're seeing. And what we've learned today is that suicide does not respect political boundaries. It does not respect the boundaries of faith. It does not live in urban or rural. It is not for rich or for poor. It affects every community, and every death is like a psychic, emotional shockwave that tears families apart, tears communities apart, leaves the bereaved wondering who and what they could have done. And out there, outside this building, there are activists and mental health workers and people who stand up and say there's reason for hope. And it's our obligation as legislators to join them and making sure that we have a framework. Because we know that frameworks and action plans work. We can look to Quebec. Quebec is a world model. They dropped the youth suicide rate by 50%. Imagine what that would mean in the rest of this country. That in ITK we have now a suicide plan. Well, we should have a national one, that we are bringing a suicide plan to respond for the military, which we need. What we need is it for everyone. And I want to say, Madam Speaker, earlier in this winter, I was in Thunder Bay and I got a call at 11 o'clock at night to go to a hotel. And Saul Mamakwa, the provincial member, said, "Can you come with me?" And there had been a death of a 14-year-old girl. And I didn't know the community, but he said, "Can you come and pay respect?" And it was the whole third floor of the hotel. And we came up, we had to give our condolences, and we started from the classmates and the neighbors and the third cousins and the second cousins, down to the family members, then to finally walk in that room at the moment they were talking about taking that little girl's body home from the airport, or from the hospital. And we tried to give our condolences, and the only thing they could say is, "We've lost so many." How is it possible that a country with as much resources and as much hope and as much skill as Canada can leave its young to die? That is a question that we as parliamentarians need to respond. That we aren't just there to say sorry for your loss, but to say your child, your husband, your cousin was loved. They just weren't sure that they were loved. And we can love them as a society and we can love them as individuals, but as a nation, we have the obligation to put in place the tools to make sure that when they are hopeless, when they are in their darkest hour, that if they make that call, there will be the support. If they're looking for those resources, it will be there. And that we as parliamentarians are tracking where are the hotspots, where are the danger points, so that we can start to move in and put the resources on the ground. Because this is what we learned in Attawapiskat, and we learned it in the Skandiga, and we learned it in so many of the other communities. It's not good enough to wait until the crisis hits. Proactive engagement, working with communities across this country, gives people a sense that their lives have meaning, their lives have dignity, and they will not take that dark path. That is the opportunity before this Parliament. And for all the smut and corruption that we debate on a daily basis, I would say to have begun this Parliament talking about this issue and to have ended this Parliament trying to make a change, we can go home and say, for all the other things we failed on this one, we all came together, and it's going to make a difference. Thank you, Miigwech. Honored.